friends, in this video I'm going to be showing you how to make the OBY bag. This bag is actually a collaboration between me and Handmade by OBY, an Italian crochet designer. She designed this pattern in crochet, then she told me about it that we can actually make Ankara. It was all our idea from the beginning to use leather and Ankara, so here it is in leather and Ankara. And in this video I'll be showing you how to make this bag. And yeah, let me show you some features of this bag. It has this V panel, really nice, and you can use it as the carry handle. And it has the clasp itself, the frame, it's inside this, and this is the frame panel. This is the zipper panel, and it opens really wide. It can contain your key, your money, and the rest of that. And the main compartment of the bag itself is spacious, like really spacious, although it looks like it's very small bag, but it has a lot of space and it opens really wide. This is the bottom with some purse fit, and there is a long strap chain in this case, and we have this little connector, side connector on each end, actually adjacent to each other. So let's get right into it. Okay, so here are the materials. This is the main panel already interfaced with the main interfacing, and it's really thick. The interfacing is thick, and we need two of that, of course. And then the zipper pockets with the zip and the zipper overlay. And here is the V panel, the clasp panels or the frame panels, then the base, and then the base interfacing, and we have the main lining panel. This is the clasp. It measures 8 inches. So the pattern itself, the pattern pieces are for an 8-inch clasp. But if you want to use other measurements, maybe you want to use 9-inch clasp or 7-inch, all you have to do is follow the calculation in the pattern, and you will be able to make your bag with the calculation. So that's what you use to print your pattern when you want to print. And this is my chain. I already attached silver hook to 2 edges of it. This is my zipper pull for the zipper pocket, and these are my purse fit. That's my D-ring connector for attaching this chain to the bag, and some rivets. So now I'll take my zipper overlay, and on the wrong side I'll align a stripe of double-sided tape on the long edges and also the short edges if you find that necessary. Then I'll remove the paper backing and take my one of my lining, main lining now. So I'm going to use my ruler to measure 0.5 inch, sorry, from the edge of the V, and then center my zipper pull, my zipper overlay on that. So now I'm going to cut the middle to create a zipper window. So there we have it, and that's where my zipper would sit. But right now I'm going to sew all around the
zipper overlay to, to stick it down to the lining. Then I'm going to take one of my pocket piece and lay it right side up with my zipper itself, and sew them together with 1/4 seam allowance. Then I will do the same thing with the second zipper pocket. Then I'm going to use double-sided tape to attach it to my main lining where the zipper overlay is. So I'll center my zipper overlay window on the zipper, and this is what it will give me. So from the wrong side of this the lining, I'm going to open the zipper pocket and sew the bottom edge of the lining first. Then I will secure the stitches by bringing the front thread to the back and tying them off. So now I will flip my lining down, the remaining lining zipper pocket down, and then I'll start sewing from the side of the zipper window across the top and down the other side. That way my zipper window will lay flat and neat. So the same way, I'm going to bring the front thread to the back and secure in place. Then I will cut the excess zipper pockets.
I'll mark 0.75 inch at the bottom of each of my pocket piece so that I can fold to that line and then press in place. This will allow me turn through this pocket hole later on and still have a smooth and a folded edge to sew when I finish my bag. So I will sew the two sides of the pocket and still leave the bottom open so that I can turn through that opening later. Here is my main panel, and I'm going to attach the V panel. Clip it in place first, then I'm going to sew it down on the outer edge. Of course, I'm not going to touch the inner edge yet. I've done the same thing for the two panels. Now I will lay one of my main lining panel right sides together to one of my main panel. Then I'll clip them together and sew all the top edge with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. So I have this, and I will now clip the cuffs and notch the edges
or the V's now. I will notch the V's so that it will allow for easy turning. So I'm going to turn the panels right side out and then clip in place just to make sure that top edges lay flat. And I will start sewing the top edges from 0.5 inch and start 0.5 inch to the end of each side edges. I'm using 1/8 inch seam allowance for this one. So here we go. This is what we have, and I will do the same thing for the two panels. And this is my clasp panel. I'm going to hold it right sides together, wrong sides together, and clip the long edge. And I will sew with 1/8 seam allowance. It's done, and I will do the same for the two panels. I'm going to fold the sewn edge to the top edge of the main panel and clip in place. And of course centered. And I will sew those top edges with 1/8 seam allowance, essentially on the stitches that I have before. So this is what we have, and I will still repeat for the other panel. I'll take my base panel and center it right side together with my bottom edge, with the bottom edge of my main panel, and then clip in place. And I'm going to sew with 3/8 seam allowance. Now we'll open the panels and top stitch on my base panel. So there we have it, and I'll do the same for the other panel. Now I'm going to open the linings and then clip my side edges together, the side edges of both the main panel and the lining. In this case, my lining was too soft or too frail, so I'm just going to leave it and sew. I'm sewing both the main panel side edges and the lining side edges together, and I will do the same for the two sides. I'm going to do the same for the other side, and here we go. I just kept that because we've done the same already. And now I'm going to take the side bottom, hold them right sides together and sew with 3/8 seam allowance. Doing that for the two edges, and I'm going to turn my bag right side out. This is what we have. Now I'll stick the base interfacing to the main base panel. This way is going to give me a very thick and tough base. Just smoothing that out because I used glue. And fixing my purse fits now. And there we have it. I'm going to cover the prongs of those purse fits with a pieces of leather and install my D-ring connector. And I'll install the other one on the adjacent side of it. Now bring out the bottom of the lining through the space we have inside the pocket, and I'm going to hold them right sides together. And I'll sew with a 1/4-inch seam allowance. There we have it. I will also sew the bottom sides or the side seams. Now I'm going to pin the side seams together and then sew again with 1/4-inch seam allowance. I'll do this for the two sides. I'm putting the lining back in place. I'm going to cover the hole or the space in my zipper pockets. Now our lining is all done, and the very last thing to do is put in our clasps. I'm going to observe how this looks like they remove the inches. Yours might not exactly look like this, but just use the manufacturer's instruction if you have any. Remove these clasps so that there are two separate metals now, and start by pushing one in. It might be a little tricky, but it's totally doable. Okay, one down and one to go. So now that they are both in, I'm going to put the hinges as they should. I mean, as I saw the way it was in the first place. Then I'll iron my, just because I'm using cotton and Cara fabric, actually, I can iron my exterior to make it really neat. Then put the hinges together and arrange it like it was from the beginning.
If it feels a little tricky, take your long nose plier if you have one and use it to set it straight. Then I'm going to close this, but I'm not liking the shape it's giving me right now, so I'll try to rearrange it this way. This whole rearrangement is also inside the pattern, so you don't need to worry. I've written it step by step the way it should be done. So you see that this side is looking a bit different from the other side. I'm liking this new look than what it's giving me by default, so I'm going to do the same thing for the other side as well. So in a way, I'm pushing it in and forcing the clasps to close. You only need to force it once. Once you force it once, it will stay like that later on. So my bag is done. Just look how pretty this is, and I'm going to install my chain on the bag. And here we have it. Here's our OB bag in leather and Ankara fabric.